Hi everybody, I'm Kevin. This year I set myself a challenge to watch 366 new movies, or a new movie every single day, movie I've never seen before or have forgotten that I've seen it, I guess, and give it a KeveRating out of 5. Without further ado, the next 6 movies on the list.
Movie 37 is everything you always wanted to know about sex but were afraid to ask. Released in 1972, rated R.
It was a weird one. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a very weird movie. It did not age well. This is not one that I would recommend to anybody. It's an easy 2 out of 5 for me. It was the reason I fell upon it is I was actually recommended it, and I think it's because the person that recommended it to me saw it back when it came out, and it was, there was a couple interesting vignettes in the movie because it's a movie broken into 7 pieces, and it's supposed to be different parts of the book. It's an actual book written by some guy, but it's supposed to be like 7 vignettes that are things that are in that book, but I'm sure they're not actual things in the book. But it's things like, do aphrodisiacs work? What is sodomy? So it's just like, there's other segments that were like super, super distasteful, especially in the modern day and age, because it's like, being gay is okay. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be a bad thing to be a gay person, right? And now it's like, that's awesome. If you're gay, it's great. It went some like bad places. I'd say of the 7 like segments in there were probably 2 or 3 that I found at least mildly entertaining. But overall, this movie it does not hold up in the modern day. I do not recommend it. I'm not even gonna throw a spoiler on there because there's stuff in there that I don't want to talk about because it's just not. One of the funny, I guess, quote funny parts is there's like a giant silicone boob that gets out, and it's just like a giant boob kind of slowly like meandering through town, and it's like killing people. So that was like kind of funny because it was like just preposterous bullshit. So this one's a 2 out of 5 for me. And after seeing that one, I was like, man, oh man, what the hell am I doing with this? So then I just watched the movie that I've always wanted to see, which is
Movie 38 was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, released in 2022, rated PG.
I had seen the first one just last year. I saw Sonic 2 because it just made it on one of the streaming services. I think it was on Amazon. This movie was a lot of fun. I mean, it's a worthy sequel to the first one. I thought the first one was a lot better than this one, but this movie was it was a fun ride. It's good for kids. They introduced both Tails and Knuckles, which is cool because the only game I had the only Sonic game I had when I was growing up was Sonic and Knuckles. So it was cool to see Idris Elba as Knuckles, and I don't even know who it was as Tails, but it was cool. There was a weird like side plot with the secret agent wedding that kind of felt like it was shoehorned in for some reason. Maybe it just gave him an excuse to end up in Hawaii, because that's where like Sonic ends up going through a ring and bringing an avalanche with him into this wedding. It turns out the whole wedding was a sham because it was like a secret agent, and they're all there to get Sonic. So not great. I'll throw up spoilers, and the spoilers are they win. Knuckles is a bad guy at the beginning, and he gets turned, and he ends up being like a teammate to Sonic and Tails. And Knuckles has his own TV show coming out on Paramount Plus, I guess, this year. It was a fun movie. Again, not as good as the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, I highly recommend Sonic the Hedgehog. 3 out of 5. That sounds exactly right. Good if you've seen the first one, if you've got nostalgia like me. But other than that, you could pass.
Movie 39 is Bumblebee from 2018, rated PG-13.
John Cena's the bad guy, and I was not expecting that, but it happens like, right up front. Cybertron has fallen. Optimus Prime sends Bumblebee to Earth to make a stronghold so that the Autobots can like survive or something like that. If the Decepticons show up at all, like we're all screwed. And so then they show up immediately. They show up like literally the same exact time Bumblebee does. He lands on Earth. He's trying to talk to John Cena and be like, "I'm not going to kill you guys, please. I'm an ally." And John Cena's shooting at him and stuff. And then the Decepticons show up and rip out his throat. So he has no speech capability because he doesn't in the original Transformers with Shia LaBeouf. So it was a prequel to that movie because he got his throat ripped out and he can only speak through the radio, which is, it's pretty well done. It kind of doesn't make sense that he can just like pull clips from any song that he wants to, it seems like, at any time, but like whatever. I'll wave that away because it enables him to speak with Haley Steinfeld's character. There she is. And she did great. It was fun to watch her kind of be an awkward, quirky teen where she's, she misses her dad who passed away, and she makes friends with the neighborhood kid. And when he walks in on her like talking with Bumblebee, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" So I also thought it was funny that he was a bug like Bumblebee, but he was like a yellow beetle was his the car that he transforms into until the very end of the movie for continuity purposes because he's like a Camaro when Shia LaBeouf meets him. But I think where it lost me is Bumblebee was like a brilliant robot and he was shown to be like super smart, but also like a bumbling idiot, like bumbling, haha, pun intended. But like there was a point where he goes into the house. She's like, Bumblebee, stay in the garage. Don't do anything stupid. Just stay in the garage. I got to go to work. So he immediately goes into the house. And I think the plot reasons are because he ends up plugging himself into like a power outlet, and that he shows up on the grid so the other Decepticons, like the Decepticons, can find him. So they come after him. But like while he's in the house, he destroys the entire house. It was like infuriating. It felt like a really stupid. This robot's a genius. Optimus Prime sent him to help like save the world, and he's just a bumbling idiot. So it's like kind of stupid. But I really like there was a car crash scene where they were like about to crash and Bumblebee saved the day and stuff. There was a great music in it. And I think the other thing that I didn't like, I'll throw this in here. Spoilers. One of the tropes that I hated in movies, and I'm realizing it shows up in a movie, it like peeves me, is like the Wall-E dying trope. Where there's a scene where Bumblebee gets killed. Like the Decepticons have, finally gotten the power they need. They have control over the satellites and stuff, and they have Bumblebee captured, and they shoot him in the chest or in the head or something like that, and like his lights go out, like he's dead. But somehow, like timey-wimey stuff, or not even timey-wimey, they're just like, we shocked him with a bunch of electricity, and he's fine now. Okay, whatever. Like I'll just let it slide. But it was yeah, that kind of peeved me, I guess you could say. And then I also felt like there was like the payoff for the school bullies. So Haley Steinfeld's character is like dealing with school bullies and whatnot. And the very end of the like confrontation they have is they go and toilet paper her house, but then Bumblebee again is like a moron and crushes this girl's car and like turns it on its side to hide from her when he could just turn into a beetle. It was, yeah, not really satisfying to like watch her. This just because she's a bitch doesn't mean like her car should be crushed and like thrown on its side. Anyways, it was a fun movie. I give this one a 4 out of 5. And if you like the Transformers movie, I think you would like this one because I think it's the best Transformers movie, just straight up.
Movie 40 is Clerks, released in 1994, rated R.
Holy shit, this movie goes places. It's just a couple guys in 1995, and I think that's why I liked it a lot, is it was a slice of life from the 90s. And they're just, they're clerks. One of them works at like a convenience store, one of them works next door at the video store, and he spends no time in the video store. He's just hanging out with his friend, and they're chilling and smoking and stuff in the convenience store. And then they take a break to go play hockey. They take a break to go to a person's funeral. He's hemming and hawing about getting back with his ex-girlfriend, and it's a good movie. For me, the rating I gave this one was a 4 out of 5 again. Another 4. It wasn't like excellent, but it was like really good. I'm going to throw on spoilers here. If you haven't seen Clerks, you should see Clerks. The spoilers are his ex-girlfriend comes back. She was theoretically engaged, and she comes back and she's like, I'm leaving him. I want to be with you. And through like weird circumstances, she ends up going into a bathroom that has the lights off because the lights go off at like 4:30 or something like that every day. She goes into the bathroom and ends up having sex with a corpse. So I don't know how that happens, like how she could think that it's her ex-boyfriend, like being affectionate and loving and stuff when it's like a corpse laying on the ground or on the toilet or something. I don't know. Whatever. Like I said, that movie goes places. It's an R-rated movie and it is bizarre. Fun. It was more fun than it was weird, I think. And it was just kind of like a small little nitpick I had where it's like, that doesn't really make sense, but okay, whatever. I'll go with it because it's in this movie. And other than that, really good movie. Again, 4 out of 5.
Movie 41 is Jurassic World Dominion Extended Edition, released in 2022, rated PG-13.
The extended edition is 14 minutes longer than the theatrical cut, apparently. The reason I watched the extended edition is I saw a website that said the 14 minutes that they add are good. It added a prehistoric prologue, so it was like the T-Rex and like one of the other dinosaurs were like fighting in the past. The T-Rex gets bit on the neck by a mosquito and dies. So it's like this is the exact clone of the T-Rex that we've known through all the Jurassic Park movies. So like from Jurassic Park 1, it's the same dino that's the same T-Rex that makes it all the way through Jurassic World Dominion. So it was like kind of cool, like a little preview of what's to come. And then there was a T-Rex in a drive-in scene that was extended to show that the company was like coming to capture him, which is made for better continuity is what this article was saying. And then there's some more character development, some longer scenes with like Dodgson and stuff like that made for a better movie, so this website says. Because overall this movie was not good. It felt way more convoluted than it needed to be. I felt like there were like 5 or 6 subplots going on because they had to bring in Laura Dern and Sam Neill and like the old, Jeff Goldblum. They brought the whole original cast back, and they had to explain what the current cast is doing. And for some reason they had to throw in like another conflict on top of the dinosaurs just roaming the world. Like that's not enough conflict. And the fact that there's like poachers trying to poach their adopted daughter, who's the clone girl from the second movie who released all these dinosaurs into the world. Yeah, it was a lot. So the third, for some reason they have like bioengineered locusts. I don't know why they had to put this in the movie. You can just make a movie out of dinosaurs running rampant and like screwing shit up. Make a thing about them overpopulating and eating people. There was a throwaway line where they said only 37 deaths from dinosaurs last year, which is, to me, that's insane. If you have dinosaurs like flying around the world, and there are T-Rexes, there's raptors, there's compies, they're all over the world, and you got 37 deaths. Like, are you freaking kidding me? No way. There'd be a way more people dying from dinosaurs. Like, in this movie, we saw like 6 or 7 of them. You know what I mean? Like, just bizarre. So I think that they were trying to like check too many boxes here, because they even had Biosyn, which is a company that was like kind of like Monsanto, because it's like, oh, these bioengineered locusts are only eating the non-Biosyn crops, very much like Monsanto and their freaking pesticides and all that shit. So that's how they got Laura Dern and Sam Neill's characters back, because they're like investigating these locusts. Okay, whatever, like that's the reason you brought them back. Not a big fan. There were human poachers that were poaching a human and a raptor baby for some reason. It didn't make sense. There was a part where Claire outruns a raptor, and then the raptor like did a Jason Bourne jump through a window. It was just like the exact same shot as that Jason Bourne Bourne Ultimatum or whatever, where he jumps through the window. It was. There's a bunch of scenes with the Hyperloop, because there's a Hyperloop in the Biosyn facility, which is like Hyperloop is dead now, and it's just like a funny, I don't know if they got product placement or some shit from Elon Musk, but it was I chuckled out loud when I saw Hyperloop. And they're trying to pay off a love story between Ellie Sattler and Dr. Grant. I didn't like that. And then there's a reveal that Dodgson's like the bad guy. And it's like, well, we freaking know that. He was the bad guy in the first Jurassic Park movie, and it's the same guy. It wasn't the same actor. Turns out that actor had like sexual abuse allegations and stuff. And no, not allegations. He was guilty, and he's a sexual offender, sexual predator. And so they didn't bring him back. They got a new actor for it, which is like a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a spoiler on here, because, they win. The dinosaur helps them win. And Dodgson dies the exact same way that Newman dies in the original Jurassic Park. The same raptors like shoot the goop at him, and he dies inside the Hyperloop, which is hilarious. I really liked Dr. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character in this, because there's a point where he says to Chris Pratt, and he looks him in the face, he's like, you made a promise to a dinosaur? Because like Blue or whatever was the mother, but an immaculate conception mother of this child raptor that got abducted. And Chris Pratt's character like promised Blue that I'll bring your baby back, as if the raptor can speak English It goes some really stupid places. There's a scene where three of them have like they do the hand thing, the Jurassic World hand thing, as if you're training a raptor and you putting your hand out is going to make them hesitate. I feel like in reality, if you put your hand out, the raptor would just chomp your hand off. Like, no, it's not gonna like hesitate. I don't. So they're like, oh, we gotta triangulate this raptor baby, and three of them do the hand thing, and they like go around it to like freeze it in place. It can't move, so they end up capturing it. It was way too long, and I'd say this movie it's one it's so bad it's good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, for me, this one was a 2 out of 5.
Movie 42 is Mr. Nobody from 2009, rated R.
I thought it was going to be more of a like time loop or something like that, but it wasn't really a time loop. It was more. It almost had the same kind of vibe as Past Lives. It's told very confusingly, and it's told very confusingly on purpose because the story itself is very confusing. I gave this a 3 out of 5, and that's about right. I mean, it's a told from kid's perspective, about 10 years old. His parents are getting divorced, and he's on a train station, and it's either he gets on the train and goes with his mom, or he stays home and lives with his dad. And it kind of goes into what could have happened in either scenario, and it's told through the eyes of him as a 128-year-old or something like that. He's like a really 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 old guy, and the way he's telling it is all of these things have already happened to him. So I think it's kind of just a multiverse type of butterfly effect kind of small decisions make big consequences, but also that's okay. So, it had a pretty decent message at the end, and it's basically any choice could be good or bad. Knowing the future won't really help. So I'll throw spoilers on here because there's not much to spoil for it, because again, it was so confusingly told that I don't even know how to spoil it, other than the fact that he ends up a really really old man. He seems to be alone, and they vote to let him die. So he just kind of like dies of natural causes, but he gets interviewed by a couple people, and it's kind of like an interesting slice of life in the far distant future, with like everybody doesn't or nobody ages anymore because they all have like pigs that they with stem cells and shit. It's just weird, but it was cool to see a young Juno Temple in this one. She's in Ted Lasso, so that's where I know her. He could see the future, but like I don't really know why he could see the future. It doesn't really make sense. He's like, those are just like alternate paths, and there were times where he's married 3 different women throughout the different decisions he's made and stuff, and he always tries to go back to the Anna, and just at the end of the movie, he really wanted to like be with Anna, and she just kind of was gone. Of course, he's the oldest man in the world, so yeah, that was a 3 out of 5 for me. I don't recommend that to most people, but I mean, it was all right. It was fine. The ending was okay, and there we are. 2 out of 5 for Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask. Don't watch that one. That's a skip. Does not hold up. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a 3 out of 5 for me. Good. Not as good as the first one. And it's good for kids. So I can recommend that to more people than some of these others. Bumblebee, 4 out of 5. Probably the best Transformers movie I've seen. I think the best one that's ever been made, to be honest. Clerks, another 4 out of 5. It went some weird places, but it was enjoyable and a good slice of life from the 90s. Jurassic World Dominion, extended edition, way too long. It was nostalgia. It was fine. That's a 2 out of 5 because the movie was just way too much. Don't even waste your time with it. Mr. Nobody, 3 out of 5. So that is movie 42. I have watched 42 movies now. So, thanks for watching. There are 324 more KeveRatings to go. I'm going to do these in batches of 6, so you'll see these on YouTube. Click here to subscribe, click over there for the next video, and we'll see you in about a week. Thanks.